if you've followed us along, we've been dealing with grasshoppers, a lot of grasshoppers, like an infestation of grasshoppers. So they've put a lot of pressure on us to stay on top of those onions. And so let me show you what I've done over the last 10 days or so out in the garden to actually even have onions to braid and get ready to go to the store. Now what I think is pretty good, you may be thinking, oh, those are tiny, right? But we are very far north. We're only, I don't know, 60, 70 miles off the Canadian border. And so we're happy with this size and are more than happy with this size, right? We're growing them organically, regeneratively, so we're not using any chemical fertilizer such as the NPK or whatever. We are using some micronutrients to help boost those plants up and to be able to deal with our pest problem, which is our grasshoppers. So let's go over to the garden, over to the farm, and I'll show you what we did over the last few weeks to be able to actually be working with these. Lots of gardeners I know have lost everything where they lost all their onions, the hoppers. We gotta go, there's a train coming. We're gonna beat the train. I'm over here at the farm. This is where we've been doing the majority of the onions in these two beds. And then I videoed over the last several days of what's going on with these onions. And so this show will be showing you back footage of what happened with these hoppers and the onions. Now the hoppers have been moving in. See, if you can see on beyond the posts and the highways over there, that's a pivot. That's an irrigated pivot of hay barley. And they harvested sometime over the last week, which has drove grasshoppers over here that had been happily over there. And so now they're over here thinking this is the greenest place in the area, which it probably is. This is getting drip irrigation. You can see where the irrigation is running. It gets half an hour, 45 minutes of drip. This is long runs, right, of water each day. So the hoppers have worked on these guys a little more than from yesterday, but not bad. And this is our onion that we're thinking is the healthiest one of all the onions. And hoppers have just started working on the tops of its leaves. But compared to all these others that have already come out of the ground that you saw in the drying stations. So there's something different about them, right, than what the hoppers like or don't like. This is a leek. And the hoppers have trimmed it some in the middle there. And it's held up to pressure fairly well. Alright, I am going to have to pick these onions, pull these onions, because if I don't, the hoppers will eat right down into the bulb in the next couple days. And I can only get over here every second or third day. So, I am pulling them, and I will be taking them to my house to dry. Got some racks set up in the shade in order to dry those onions down. Alright, I'm having to pull the bulk of these onions, so I'm just gonna speed right through this thing and get these onions out of the ground so that we can go get them dried so that they will be ready to go down into the root cellar to store. Not leaving any more out here for the hoppers. So we're pulling them all. As many as we can find. Well, I'm over at the high tunnel now. Just got done pulling these onions. These ones are Red River. Would have loved to have them sized up better, but it's at least something we're going to get to eat, and the grasshoppers will now not get to snack on them any longer. So that's what's going on there. They did seem to attack the red ones harder and faster than they did the others. I think we had, I'll come up with the name of it. It's round and flat, yellow. A really good onion, but they didn't eat as many of them as they did the Red River. Now what did work over here is where I planted the onions right next to the tomatoes, and the hoppers didn't find them as bad yet, but they are working on them, so I'll probably only be able to get an extra day or two out of those before I have to pull those too. That's farming in Montana, especially. There's always something. So you should always be thankful for what there is at the store, and it's a lot of work and a lot of problem solving, and that's why we have this channel, and I'm glad you have come along with us here. Yeah, we have mosquitoes in Montana too, with grasshoppers and blister beetles. Yep. Well, I'm back at my house and set up a onion drying station. I wish you could smell what this smells like, because these onions smell amazing. And this garlic, check this garlic out. This garlic smells, oh, so amazing. Too bad this camera can't smell for you guys. So we're curing these garlic, and we're now going to cure these onions, and we got a lot more onions, as you've seen, out in the field to go. So I'm going to work on putting these guys in the rack, drying them down. Oh, look, another one. Put the grasshoppers. Now I just was sitting here thinking as I was putting these onions in that, you know, if I was a commercial grower and I was relying on this production to go to the grocery store and look like what's in the grocery store, that I would have had to use the insecticide on these onions. I don't know how else I could have got them to be as good and big and gorgeous as they are that we can buy at the grocery stores. But I choose not to, and I'm not going to eat the insecticides. I guess that's your choice, but my choice is not to eat it. And I plan on mostly growing this food, not only for myself and my community, but for education and to hopefully help you grow healthier with this channel. So you know what I need you to do to help us out. Those buttons are down below, down below. This is one of our drying stations. It's under the eave of my house. This is garlic. It's just production garlic that I grew. I'm going to turn it into garlic powder. Well, the bigger cloves probably keep, but most of it will go into powder. And then these are blush onion that I'm not too crazy about. I don't know. We'll see. I got more blush onions over there. But of course, these are the hopper ones that the hoppers made us harvest, so they didn't all get to size up as much as we could have. Because look at the genetics here. They could have sized. But of course, these are the hopper ones that the hoppers made us harvest, so they didn't all get to size up as much as we could have. Because look at the genetics here. They could have sized up to this. Wow. But the hoppers made us harvest them a lot quicker and smaller. And some of that's plant nutrition too, right? That we want to get to this point because they all got the same nutrition, which was micronutrients and fish. And then another onion drying station. We normally would be doing this in the field, but as you know, if we did, the hoppers would be eating more of them than we got to eat. So yeah, I'll figure out these reds. This one, not bad. I mean, not like what we want, but close. That one, Red River, that one was. This is Highlander. I like it. Looking pretty darn good, huh? There's several nice big bulbs. And then Red River, this is Red Wing. And then we've got some copra, the white sweet onion, one leek there. Our garlic seeds for the up and coming planting season. And I'm planting quite a bit of it. And then these reds did really, really well. Look at those. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're looking for. So hopefully we don't have to pick too many more onions, or I'm going to have to makeshift some other spot to dry them in, because this station's full for now. And these are all full with the ones the hoppers made us pick early. This is actually a compost bin where we make compost. So, but we're drying in the shade because we have a lot of sun in Montana and we just don't want to be beating them to death. So, that's where we've got them. These ones, if we do have to go harvest those others, we'll have to tighten them up. Well, I'm back, and this is what I got gathered up for. For example, some of these guys, they sized up a little better, right? But these guys didn't store dry down. These guys, I think, were good to go to braid these up. These guys are some Red Rivers. They were gorgeous, but wow, they are soft on one side. Some of the other varieties we're working with here is a Cipollini, which in the beginning when I started having these harvests, I thought, oh, these guys are tiny. Look, they're not that big around. But genetically, that's all they're supposed to do. So I'm like, well, actually, they probably did really, really well. Look at that. So I probably will. I'll see how they taste, see how they store. They only store for 5 months. So those 4 and 5 month onions, I'll have to really keep track of in the root cellar and make sure they're getting used up first, so that we don't end up losing them, right? Which when I lose them, that means they got to go to the compost. So some of my best storing onion I anticipate will be this Patterson. The Patterson replaced the copra. We've been growing copra for several years. But I guess their seed's not going to be available on them, so they've shifted to this variety. And so far, we've been super happy with how it's looking, what it's doing. And it's got capabilities of 10 to 12 month storage. So I'm like, yes, home run, right? Because those are the ones that we can be eating here next summer, June, July, probably even early August, hopefully, before the other onions have bulbed up. So that's exciting, and that's kind of our goal, is to go from season to season without having to buy onions. So that's kind of that. Oh, some other varieties we grew was Ringmaster and Walla Walla. both of those are shorter, like Walla Walla is supposedly super sweet onion. I've had it a lot. It is really good, but doesn't store well, so those need to be ate up relatively quickly. Ringmaster's got a 4-month storage. Another variety we planted was a Highlander. And wow, did they turn out well. Super, super excited about them. Look at these guys. So, like, home run, right? They're everything we want. They are supposed to be a really good storage onion too. So this is the first year that we've planted all these masses of different kinds of long day onions to try to figure out what will do well in our environment and be able to handle the pressure of our grasshoppers and store well, right? Because, wow, we can only eat so many onions really fast. Like, for instance, this Alice Craig, I didn't plant that many of them because they're only 1 month storage capabilities. They're supposed to be like the world's giant onions, you know, get really, really big, super sweet, bred in Britain, I believe. But wow, look at this. The grasshoppers decided, oh yeah, we like those super sweet onions, and they got to munching on them really, really quick. So this is a variety I'm going to drop off the trial next year. I probably will not be even buying any of these. Now, it may be the best onion that I go in there and glaze and think, wow, I should get lots of them. But it's not meeting my goals, right? My goals are to have onions year-round, be able to store them in our root cellar, and deal with our environment. So, this one's out, this one's in, which is the Highlander and the Patterson and the Chippalellis. Yeah, for a mini onion, I'm impressed. Red one's still going to be an ongoing trial, looks like, on them. But the blush did step up a notch because of them not getting soft here after we cured them. So that was kind of disappointing to have these ones that, look, they were probably our best variety. Look at that. Like, yes! And then I picked them up and I'm like, no! They're all getting bad. They're all rotten. I'm going to have to go in the house right now to handle these, deal with these. Not what I had planned at all. So that's where we're at on these onions. Now these that tops either got ate off by the hoppers or they dried down so fast that I couldn't get them braided. They're going to have to go into a netted bag so we can hang them in the root cellar and store them that way. I wasn't wanting to do it that way, just because I do want to have the onions hanging up so they get airspace around them. We do have a lot of potatoes to go in the root cellar, as you've seen in our last video, which is up above, and how we dealt with the hoppers, or which genetics dealt with the hoppers, right? We really didn't do anything but monitor them, and that's what we did with the onions too. All right, for now, it's been great having you stop by and visit, and thank you so much for staying this late in the video. And so I guess the knowledge bomb of the week, or the knowledge bomb of the video is these top varieties that are going to move on and use next year for genetics. The Chippalelli and the Patterson and the Highlander have moved right up to the top of the buy list for next spring, or plant list if they're planting seeds, right? I usually don't have time or space to plant the seeds, but I'm not against it in any way, shape, or form. So that's kind of that wrap up on onions, and man, I can hardly wait. I'm going inside and I am going to process some onions and glaze some onions for my Montana grass hamburger. Yum. Gonna have lots of veggies though. We got yellow squash and tomatoes, good tomatoes coming on, lots of peppers. This is the purple Viking. The onions, of course, and the yellow and purple peppers, some lovely zucchini and summer squash, and of course I got lots of thyme and basil. Gonna go in the dish. It's gonna go in the Barbie tonight. Can hardly wait. I wish you could join me. Catch us in future videos on those and growing regeneratively in the garden. We're going to be spending a bunch of time in the greenhouse because so many cool things are going on over there with the beneficial insects and the plant diversity and stuff. And so hope you tune in the future. See you soon. Grow healthy.